Have you ever delivered like real results to someone? Actually changed their business, changed their trajectory, changed their life, and still gone broke doing it? Look, that's exactly what happened to me. Several months ago, I started a new endeavor and I failed. Not because the value prop wasn't real. I did all the things, man. I hosted the workshops, the webinars, gave the talks, ran the trainings, shared the frameworks that were the backbone of the whole thing. And people told me days later, weeks later, months later, that what I shared was transformative. Look, my name is Jawan Buford. I'm a small business architect. And if you've ever experienced this before, uh, tune in. I'm going to share information about number one, how I got caught up in that situation, but secondly, how I extricated myself from it. And look, one thing in particular that transpired after one of the workshops that I put on, a gentleman approached me and said, look, he had been using everything that I shared with him, acquired several new clients, put him on a completely different trajectory, right? Today, his business is over 100% more profitable as a result of being in that room. So here's the thing, if the value was real, if I was delivering outcomes, why did I quit? Or rather, let me correct that. Why did I put the business on the back burner? And it's because when I added it all up, the investment in the PowerPoints, the companion documents, the manuals, my time, the return was not commensurate with the effort that I was putting out. I was dispensing all this energy to deliver the outcomes. And in other words, I was delivering outcomes, but I wasn't being compensated enough to sustain the business. And you know what? That was my fault. 20 years into my entrepreneurial journey as an insurance agent, investment advisor, team leader in the direct selling industry, community organizer. Over that time, I've built sales teams and help other entrepreneurs do the exact same thing. Give them the frameworks to lead teams, set standards, define what good actually looks like, develop leadership rhythms, train, enable, and execute. But here's what I got wrong. I wasn't targeting the right people. I didn't have the correct client persona, or what you hear some people refer to as ICP. Most of the individuals at the time that I was working with were still fledgling entrepreneurs. They benefited, they appreciated, but they lacked the budget to make the exchange a win-win. And here's one of the hardest lessons almost every entrepreneur has to learn. The people who invest the least become the most difficult to please and to work with. You know, number one, when people invest more, they appreciate the experience more. When people invest more, they become more invested in the outcome, more willing to actually do the work. When people invest more, they're more committed to getting results and staying with the process. The correct buyer persona for me were actually people who already had motion taking place in their business. People needing to build consistency, not at a starting point. Entrepreneurs moving from a team of me to a team of we, bringing on their first hires, or business owners who already had a team, but were dealing with inconsistent performance and growth that stalled out. In the business solution space, here's what I teach B2B entrepreneurs. Identifying their ICP. Number one, you want to search for people who are looking for your solutions. Look, your product or service is just a vehicle, it's just a means. But what you're really searching for are people who are chasing a specific outcome. Time saved, less stress, more productivity. They have the means to afford your service, right? They have discretionary income. Because when people spend their last dollar with you, even if it's a small amount on paper, if it's an outsized amount relative to their financial reality, what follows is an outsized expectation, right? Outsized desires for outcomes that, quite frankly, they didn't necessarily pay for. You want to look for people who are decisive, people who don't blink, right? No is cool. No is all right. Yes is great, even better. But maybe, nah, you don't want maybes. You don't want people saying, maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe I'll invest, maybe I won't, maybe I'll look at this tomorrow, maybe I'll look at this a month from now, right? You want to deal with people who make decisions. So if you skip the work of defining your ICP, your ideal client persona, here's what's waiting for you. Exhaustion, lowered self-esteem, right? Because you're going to be burning the midnight oil. You're going to put forth the effort. You're going to, look, you're doing the work, but you're not being rewarded enough for it to be sustainable. And so as a result, once again, you're in a situation where You're just surviving. You're earning enough to exist, but never enough to actually thrive, never enough to scale. Your ICP determines everything downstream. Where you show up, the networking events you walk into, the conversations you find yourself a part of, how you show up in terms of your attire, your marketing, your online presence. All these things matter. You may have to let go of your current ecosystem, straight up, depending on your situation and who you're taking aim at. All right, and depending on the ICP. You may have to build an entirely new network, put yourself in uncomfortable rooms, unfamiliar spaces, become a student of a whole new set of buying behaviors. So here's an exercise that I'd suggest, right, that worked for me. Number one, take a moment and really define your values. Define what's most important to you, right? Who you want to serve, how you want to serve. Define the problems that you actually enjoy solving, and who are the individuals that will be most receptive to it, right? Ask yourself, who are you best equipped to serve? Like the problems you're best equipped to solve. So whether that be through your talent, your skill, your knowledge, or your experience. Take a moment and imagine the person, right? Imagine where they live. Imagine whether they have 2 children, 10 children, 0 children. Imagine their occupation or their previous background. Imagine the places where they spend their time, whether it's for social matters or for work, right? Imagine the platforms they spend the most time on. These things are so absolutely important, right? And once again, imagine that person working with you without blinking an eye. Reach out to a small group of people who kind of fit that ICP, who fit that description. Offer your services for free. I know some of you are going to balk at this, but look, there's a reason why I encourage you to do it, because it gives you an opportunity to collect receipts, which is going to serve you later on, right? Collect those outcomes, collect the learning experiences, the data that you need to sharpen your offer. Then go to ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, whatever your jam is, whatever tool you enjoy using. Share your ICP and your value prop, and ask it for like 30 to 50 topics that connect with the two, and build your content from there. And look, here's the thing. Don't price yourself on what you feel you're worth, at least not in the beginning, particularly if you've gone through a situation where your esteem's taken a pounded. Instead, what I'd encourage you to do is price yourself on the outcomes. Like, how much are the outcomes actually worth, right? That's how you determine how much you're going to charge. If you want more content like this, like it, comment. Remember, sharing is caring. If you want the frameworks, the resources for deeper support, you can find me on Substack at the Grow Givers Project. Join the email list with deeper dives, things that are a little bit more surgical in the approach. You'll find that in the show notes. Or head to my website and complete the questionnaire. Helps me understand exactly where you're at. It helps you understand exactly where you're at in your process too. It's a doorway to a more meaningful, more surgical conversation. And look, let's build taller buildings together. Celebrate success in advance.